Hi everyone, welcome back to another Richard's Tech Tutorials. Today we're going to be looking at how I can use a second LLM server within my ServiceNow instance. Now, in my home environment, I've got two LLM servers. So I've got the Ollama one, which is running on a Linux virtual machine that we spoke about previously, but I'm also running LM Studio, which you can see here on my Mac that obviously I'm recording this video on right now. And I'm using the two separately because the Mac Studio is faster than my Linux box. So what we're going to do is we're going to run through how we set up LM Studio inside ServiceNow. Now, LM Studio uses an OpenAI-like, as it says here, supported endpoints, OpenAI-like. So we need to go through and set that up within ServiceNow. So first things we need to do is we need to set up an API key credential. So I've called mine LM Studio API key here, and the API key is LM-Studio, all in lowercase. So literally LM Studio in lowercase with a hyphen in between. If you leave it blank, it won't work. You need to put that in there for it to work correctly. So once we've done that, we're then going to set up the alias. Now I've already done that on this system, so I'm setting up a new alias and we're going to then set up a new connection. So the connection is here. Now I'm using my LM Studio API key that you saw me just set up just then. Now the connection URL, I'll show LM Studio here, is HTTP, so you can just copy that particular one here. So 0123:1234 is the server's address on my home network, and then we also need the /v1 chat completions, which is from this endpoint here, so v1 chat completions. So we put that in. Now obviously, because it's sat on my network and not publicly available out onto the internet, I'm using a mid server, and I've specified my home mid server, which is the same one I use for the Ollama system from before, so I can use it for both. So once we've defined that, the next step we need to do is to go and define the model. Now I'm just going to get the table name that we need to go to. I'll put the information in the description below the video for those who want to. If you're not sure, you can go and look at my other video, it's in there as well. So if we put that in, now you'll see here I've got 4 custom LLMs defined, so Llama 3.1, 3.2, and here's my LM Studio ones, as you can see here from my connection alias. So if we just look at let's look at Llama 3.1. So if we go here, so for example, my Meta Llama 3.1 8 billion instruct one, just copy that and paste that into the model. Yeah, I've set 500 maxes as tokens. I'm using the LM Studio connection alias, and it's in English. Now you'll see it's grayed out at the moment because obviously I'm sat in my test application, because the next step that we go to, well, not the next step, but the step after, is when we go and actually then try the skill out. So once you've done that, make sure you do that in global, by the way. And then what we need to do is we need to set up a transformer for each one. So I'm just going to grab that table name over there. So I'm going to paste that in. So again, I will put this down in the description. So sysgenerative AI _ custom LLM transformer .list. Rather mouthful, but yeah, you get the idea. So as you can see here, I've got one transformer set up for each of the models that I've defined. So let's have a look at the 3.1, 8B. Slightly different structure to what Ollama uses. But if you're interested, if you want to know what that is, as I said, it's the OpenAI one. If you look that up, you can tell you more information. But if you go to the quick docs and walk through that, it will give you all of the information you need there. So like before, we're setting the stream as false. We're saying the role is user. The content is obviously the prompt that I'm going to give. And we just pass that through. I put some debugging in it as well. And on here, I've added the extra piece in to pass through the data that comes back. Now, you'll see from my runs I've got here, so this is just a log, the structure that comes back, I need to walk my way through that and get through to the choices. Now, most of the time for when I'm doing this, I only get one choice come back, but you could have multiple. So to make sure that that works fine, I could put in, response body, dot choices bracket 0 and then work through the rest. But I thought I'd put a loop in just on the off chance that multiple come back, because you'll see actually the response text is an array anyway. So in principle it should be able to cope with multiple texts coming back. So I've just added that in here. You'll notice also I put some GS info in here as well, and you'll see why we've done that later on. And that was just some debugging that I was doing when I was testing, because sometimes when I would run them it would come back and say object, and I wanted to make sure that things were being passed through correctly. So if you use things like GS info, you can get to the information, the log information that's part of the back end. Okay, so now that we've done that, and we've set both of those up, and again, as I said, I will leave the code that I've used in the instructions. Please, if you use the code, you have any problems with it, spend some time, use the debug information, and just figure it out. That'd be great. Right, so now that we've created those models, we're now going to go in and we're going to go through and set up the skill. Now I've obviously done that already, so if we just type in skill up here and we go to our skill kit home, here we go. So here's my LM Studio test. Now in the previous video I talked through how you set up skill input, all of that stuff, but really what I wanted to show you here was how you can go about using it. So I've done a very simple prompt, tell me more about ServiceNow. Now you'll see I clicked on the cog icon and configuration icon in the top right hand corner, and that now, because I've picked my custom LLM as provider, I now get to choose the different models that we've defined in here already. So here are the instruct ones, Meta Llama 3.1, Llama 3.2. So if I pick 3.2 for example, and we just get rid of that, and when I go to run the test, and I'm just going to quickly, because this doesn't take long to run, so if I click run test, you'll see here it says generating. It's generating the response that comes back, and there we go. So now it's done that response and it's given me that text there. Now I can change that if I want. Let's see what Llama 3.1 says about ServiceNow. So if we then save that and then run test, so you see here, if I look over, we're now running 3.1 rather than the 3.2. And this is going to come back, so this is a little bit of a larger model, so hopefully it'll give us a little bit more detail. Now, what I didn't go through here earlier was I've actually set these models to unload themselves from memory when they're not in use. So, try and save a little bit of memory on the machine that I'm using. And now if you wanted it to be a bit more performant, obviously you would make it so that they stayed in memory. So here we go, so that's come back, it's given us a little bit more information. Now if I wanted to use the Ollama ones that I did before, I can do that as well. So let's say we pick 3.1, run the test. Now that's, when I switch to here, you'll see these aren't running, but yet it's still running because it's now gone to the Ollama server, is running the request against that, and then it will come back with that information. And as you can see, it's taking a little bit longer than it did with my Mac Studio. And there you go. That's how you can go about setting up multiple servers and multiple models. You just need to make sure you define the models in both times, and you make sure you set up the transformers correctly. Well everybody, hopefully that's been useful, showing you how you can set up multiple LLM servers, and the different models on those servers for use within ServiceNow within the skills. Please like, subscribe, and we'll come back and do some more episodes soon, and we'll look at some of the other things you can do with the skill kit within ServiceNow. Thanks everybody. Bye.